Hey everyone, One Big Boss here, and as you can tell from the title of the video that you clicked on, we're talking about Resident Evil 2 Remake and the fact that Capcom has reached out to fans for their ideas on how they should handle the game, because as they said on RelyOnHorror.com from the article that I read, they are not 100% sure on where to take this game in the direction that it should be going. It's kind of a no-brainer on how this game should be handled, quite frankly. You know, one of your best games, Resident Evil Remake, if you want to remake a game, that's the best way to do it. And I've said that throughout the many years I've been doing this channel when it comes to remakes and other games and stuff like that. If you want to remake something, look at how Resident Evil, Capcom did it with Resident Evil Remake. Look how they did it with that, because you'll see so many different creative ways to handle a remake. Now, Resident Evil 2, while it's not my favorite in the franchise, it's actually, I think, my second favorite game. My first is Resident Evil 3. I do admit that it is probably I think it's like the most favored by the fans. You know, as far as selling, I'm not too sure. I think it probably is like the most sold before, maybe. Could be Resident Evil 5. But regardless, there are many ways that, you could take this game and make it great. Now, Capcom also went on like the official Resident Evil Facebook page, and they had asked, the fans, what would you like to see in Resident Evil 2 Remake? So I was like, well, I guess I'll make a list on what I want to see. It's gonna be like, 6 ideas that I had that I thought would be really core essential to developing the game, to making it as great, if not better, than Remake. Resident Evil Remake or Resident Evil Remastered. So here we go. This is just some ideas of mine that I have that I think some people would like. Number 6. Well, you gotta do atmosphere. Atmosphere is a big part when it comes to Resident Evil games, because it's survival horror, you gotta have the darkness, the scary, and for the most part, the original Resident Evils really captured that, they really did a good job, but come around Resident Evil 5 and 6, it just, it was more action than horror. You didn't really feel scared or anything like that, because, you gotta look at how Resident Evil 2 looked. It was a deserted city, filled with zombies, other creepy creatures on the streets and shit like that, and you really need to capitalize on that, because what Resident Evil 1 did, they gave you a mansion, and the mansion, as empty as it was, it looked unfinished. There wasn't much in some of the hallways. They seemed plain, ordinary. They were a little bit run down. They did look a little bit aged, but unfortunately, when Remake came out, it was a lot darker, and there was a lot more items within the hallways to make it feel like a lived-in mansion kind of thing, Whereas the original Resident Evil was pretty much like a lot of brightly lit areas, and that was how it was different in the Remake. Remake capitalized on the fact that we need to make a mansion that looks like it hasn't been lived in years. We got to make sure that it's creepy, it's scary, and there was, the guardhouse had, rotted pumpkins in it, tools scattered everywhere. The mansion, when you're walking along the floors and everything like that, the dust is coming up from the carpets and the floorboards, which I think was great, and the creaking of the floorboards was astounding, the way they handled the sound with that. Also, they were poorly lit hallways. Some of them were lit up, but others were lit by either, the lighting outside, the moonlight, completely dense, or, they would flip on a switch and they would have light and everything, and that was fantastic, that was a great way to handle that. So think about how they could apply that to Resident Evil 2. Going down dark back alleys with barely any light down them and everything. Firing off your gun to see the monsters and stuff like that. That would really add to it. Then you could hit the street and you would see the street lights and everything, or the fire from the debris, lighting the way. Kind of like how Resident Evil Darkside Chronicles handled it, with their way of their dark visions of it. And I think they did pretty good with that. Number 5 is cutscenes. Resident Evil 1, their cutscenes were really cheesy. And it didn't really explain much what was going on in the game. In fact, you didn't really know what was going on unless you read the manuals that you found within the mansion, whether they were journals or notes left by the researchers and everything. You find out what's been going on in that mansion through that, not so much through the cutscenes. Resident Evil 2 had a fair amount of, interaction with the characters and everything, but again, it was more along the lines of looking through the books, finding out about the characters, and cutscenes would not be a bad thing to add extra to in this. Now, I'm not saying they have to be anything like Metal Gear, where a cutscene's got to be 7 to 10 to 15, even 20 minutes. No, it doesn't have to be anything like that. But just add enough to where the fans enjoy the characters interacting with one another and actually learning off one another, playing off one another, that kind of thing, Darkside Chronicles kind of handled that pretty well, I will admit, when it came to Leon and Claire, Ada, and the rest of them and stuff like that. I think they did pretty good, so it wouldn't hurt to add a couple extra cutscenes. Number 4, keep it fixed camera angles. Okay, I know a lot of people in the past have always shitted on the older Resident Evil games for the fixed camera angles, not being able to see where to go, but honestly, that's what survival horror is. You're not supposed to be able to see everything in front of you like in Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 and Revelations games. You're supposed to feel that fear of helplessness. Like, you walk into a room, you don't want to make a noise because you don't know if something's there. You know, in Resident Evil 1 and even in Remake, they had pretty good camera angles. They were shooting them from under the beds or under tables or in corners of a room and stuff like that, or just face on when the character comes through the door and they can't see anything. It also made it even interesting when they introduced the Crimsons because you couldn't see them, you could hear them, but you didn't know where they were until they started running at you. So that was a really a nice little mechanic that they threw into the game. Fixed camera angles are really a good thing, and when a lot of those people who denied that for years or hated them, when they played Resident Evil Resident Evil Remastered, they really enjoyed what the game brought to the table, especially since they gave us an optional difference for different controls for those who weren't exactly fans of the old tank controls, which I think they should add in this new one if they go that route. Because the older the shoulder view, if you see everything around you, it's not as scary as you'd like it to be, honestly. Number 3, add on to existing areas. Something that Resident Evil Remake did really well with the original was adding on to, the graveyard. The shark tank was completely redesigned from what it originally was. And there was places in the mansion that were different. Some were completely different. Others were changed a little bit and made them seem brand new. Think about what you could do starting Leon and Claire off in Raccoon City right there and adding on to it, like running through basketball courts and going through these other areas, extend it. Make it harder to get to the police station for Leon and Claire. I think that would be a phenomenal idea if they did something like that. Change up, the rail yard, the sewer system a little bit, but keeping it intact and true to what it originally was. Because, again, Darkside Chronicles, they went through a lot of different sewer areas that we never really saw before. In the original Resident Evil 2. So that was kind of cool on how they handled that. They were wading through the water, fighting the infected frogs and zombies falling down. That was something that was really cool. So again, add on to existing areas to improve the gameplay and make for future replay value even better. Number 2, flashbacks / additional gameplay. Now, I don't know how Capcom wants to handle it, but there are other characters in this game besides Leon and Claire, which we are well aware of. But in Resident Evil 1 and even in Remake, all the characters we come across, we pretty much know how they got to where they are and everything, because of Resident Evil 0, we know a lot more on how people got to where they are. But also, we didn't get to play as these other main characters, we didn't get to play as Barry Burton in, did we? It's escaping my mind right now if we got to or not. But, we didn't really get to do a lot with the side characters from Resident Evil 2. Now, if you ever played the Darkside Chronicles, you'll realize that there's an unlockable voice setting where you can listen to Annette call Sherry, and Jack Krauser, he's talking to Command before he meets Leon down in South America. And Sherry and Annette's conversation is really scary as hell. It's creepy. It's pretty much Annette telling Sherry that she needs to get to the police station. And in Resident Evil 2, the original, when you play as Sherry, you only play for her for 10 minutes, and it's not even that great. It's a mediocre task to get a key and additional ammo. That's pretty much it. Why not capitalize on her escape from her apartment to the police station, have her dodge zombies on the street, have her run through areas that they can't get through, even have her run into her mutated father at one point, because apparently he's looking for her. He could be on the streets and everything like that. He could chase her to the place. Something like that would really improve the gameplay and, more love for the said characters. Ada's could be the same thing. You could do the same thing with Ada Wong. She gets into the city somehow, and then she goes off and, gets to the police station, then that's where you end her little thing. Kind of like Assignment Ada in separate ways, kind of, in Resident Evil 4. Something like that I think would really apply and help the game a lot, I think that would be the best idea for them to do. Give us extra unlockable content, okay? Resident Evil has always been about beating the game, replaying it, and unlocking that outfit that you want, or the special ammo that you want, or, anything in general. New game modes, weapons, that kind of thing. Resident Evil Remake capitalized on that with what they added to the game and all the different various zombie modes, like the invisible zombie mode and everything. You know, the boxes don't connect with each other anymore. That kind of thing was pretty incredible back in the day. And if you did all that, you get a special thank you from the creators of the game. Plus, you know, you unlock different outfits. That would be fantastic. Because I think lately Capcom's kind of been dropping the ball on the characters in their alternate outfits, quite frankly, you know, for the games that they've been in. I just never really thought that they were that great. I mean, Chris's sailor outfit from Revelations was not that awesome. I guess the ones in Revelations were okay. They weren't like terrible, but they weren't, you know, great, in my opinion anyway. So I would really think that adding something to it, like, you know, since you're Capcom and you own the rights to pretty much all the other games that you own, throw in the Onimusha outfits for the girls, which was done a while ago. Like, you know, you had other Capcom girls wearing different outfits and everything. You know, Claire and Ada's were really awesome. Do something like that. Leon, give him an outfit like Virgil from Devil May Cry, or a Mega Man armor, or something like that. Hell, even throw back his Mafia outfit, which everybody friggin' loves, you know? Nobody hates that outfit. Everybody loves it. So it would be kind of like a nice little throwback to the fans to have something that cool, you know? And, you know, like, for the best thing you could do is do what Tecmo did for Dead or Alive, and have fans design outfits that they would like the characters to wear, and then Capcom picks winners and puts those in the games. You know, Tecmo did the same thing, and I think that was a fantastic way to do it. I mean, there's so many different possibilities. Give Claire, like, Dante's outfit from Devil May Cry 3 or 4 and something like that, you know? You know, make Annette look like one of the Street Fighter characters. Give her, like, a Chun-Li outfit and stuff like that. You know, when they show Hunk in the game and everything like that, give him, like, I don't know, like, put, like, a red karate gi over him, like Ken from Street Fighter, and just have him keep the mask on and all of his armor, too. Stuff like that would really make fans happy to unlock and play through the game and do again. Plus, you know, additional game modes, like knife-only mode. You don't get ammo, guns, nothing. You just get the knife, and that's it, and additional extra herbs to be found, you know, and change the difficulty level on that. Something like that would really be incredible for this game, you know? I think if you did something like that, it would be a fantastic idea. Now, that's pretty much how I feel about Resident Evil 2 and what I would like to see added to the game. I think that, personally, this would be the smartest idea Capcom could do. Really listen to your fans. If you want to make the money, you'll listen to the fans. I mean, throw in DLC if you must, you know? But there's so many ideas that you can just put on the game to increase the replay value and make the game fun and continuing, as much as the original Resident Evil 2 has done even to this day. We still got people speedrunning the hell out of that game and playing it all the time. You know, that says a lot right there, when you're playing a game from almost, like, you know, 17 years ago, and you're still playing it today, like, religiously. And some of the other things I saw people asking, you know, for that Capcom to do were pretty interesting ideas, such as, like, you know, have Resident Evil 2 and 3 coexist within, like, one another, because it kind of does anyway in the timeline. Like, not really. Like, I think, yeah, Resident Evil 3 the first part of Resident Evil 3 happens first, and then when Jill wakes up, like, 6 days later, I think Resident Evil 2 scenario is just wrapping up. So yeah, that was a pretty cool idea for them to do. You know, if they wanted to do something like that. A lot of fans are like, you know, please bring back Allison Court. She's amazing, and I agree 100% with that. You know, if you want to do this right, bring her back. A lot of people wanted Paul Haddad. He's the one who did Leon in the first one. And it's just like, you know, it's not the best idea to do, honestly, because, like, I mean, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that great either. You know, Matthew Mercer, I think, has the character down, like perfect. I think having him come back to do Leon would be a fantastic idea. You know, and like I said, a lot of people want the fixed camera angles too, and these were people who said they're like we've always loved 4, 5, and 6, never played the originals until Remastered came out, and yeah, the controls were different, we got used to it, and the thing was, they were scary games, and I was like, wow, people are actually admitting that they've been wrong all these years, and that there's nothing wrong with the originals. True, I will admit that the controls are hard to get used to if you're not used to them. I mean, it took me a long time too. But again, it's really interesting to see that people want the old style back, and I think that's what Capcom really needs to look at. So, any of you think that what I've said is a good idea? Do you have your own ideas? Please put them in the comment section down below, because I'd love to read them. So like and subscribe, because it's free in this day and age. Free's a damn good thing. As always, everybody, I'm One Big Boss. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.